Hey there, Aquarius, and welcome to your October 2019 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kayleigh Jean, and welcome to my channel. As I was tuning into your energy for the month of October, I was getting this visual that kept coming back in many different forms, and so it obviously feels really relevant for you. But the visual was of someone holding like a big gold coin, and then I was also seeing someone with their hands kind of like around a sunflower, and then I was seeing the sun. So it just, everything kept coming back to visuals of the color gold and also the sun shining. So I feel like actually October, I don't know what you got going on, Aquarius, but I feel like it's working for you. I'm tempted to call this reading the Midas touch because that's honestly the energy that I'm getting from you, and I'm really excited to see what comes up in your cards as far as specific energies surrounding that. But I really feel like this is a fortuitous, prosperous, and lucky month for Aquarians. And I also feel like there's some kind of light. There's a theme of light, which for me represents clarity and the ability, like when the sun is out and shining, we're able to see the best. And like they always say, you know, if you're putting something together, you always want to look at it in sunlight because you see it a lot better than you do when you're under artificial light. And there were so many things that were coming through in your meditation that had to do with the sun and the color gold that I feel like something that you're doing is seeing the light of day this month. So some of you could be sharing a project that you've been working on for a long time, for example, the publishing of a book, or you could be in the final stages of preparing for some kind of lecture or public speaking gig that you're going to be doing. There's just something that you're bringing out into the public eye, and it is seeing the light of day. It's an opportunity for you to shine, and I feel like you're going to be really successful with it. So, I mean, go for it, Aquarius. This is your month. I feel like this is just going to be a really beautiful and powerful time for you to shine. So let's go ahead and take a look at your cards and see what else wants to come through for you on this. Tarot, please give us clear, loving, accurate guidance for Aquarius. Okay, I was just now seeing like a contract or a document with a pen next to it. So some of you might be signing some kind of document. Make sure you always read the fine print and be mindful of what you are agreeing to. But for some of you, it could be simply that theme of crossing the T's and dotting the I's and just really kind of getting everything finished. There's like a sense of inking something down, nailing it down. All right, Aquarius, let's take a look at your, wow, we've got the shark and the eagle for your Animal Spirit Oracle cards for this month. So pay attention to where you see these creatures or their likeness, as they will be bringing in additional messages and synchronicities for you over the month. However, I want to talk first about the shark as your path, because this is an incredibly powerful card, and the shark in this deck relates a lot to this idea of exposure and bringing things to light, which is so freaking spooky that is exactly the theme that was coming through during your meditation. So I just love when the cards speak so directly. And you even have another sun on the eagle card. You have the sun. So just love it. I just love cards. How amazing is that? But if you read the description of the shark card in this deck, it's all about exposure. It's all about bringing something that has been in the depths or in the shadows up to the surface so that everybody can see it. And I really see that as kind of a neutral energy. In some situations, it can manifest as obviously more challenging if the truth is what needs to be brought up, and it's kind of stirring up things that maybe would have been deceptions in the past or murky things like that. But I'm really not getting that feeling from this. In this particular context, I feel like it's more about you coming out with something that you've been working on, or your skills, capabilities, and projects essentially being witnessed for the first time by a larger group of people, or being validated by a group of people. So one of the examples that's coming through really strongly is that perhaps some point in October brings in an unexpected email from somebody who is organizing, let's say, an event or a contest related to what you do, and they want to feature your art, or they want to feature your business. They want to somehow shed some light on what you're doing. That could be a very real world example of how this energy of exposure comes in. But the energy of exposure is very, very profound in this reading already, and I feel like it's something that is going to allow you the opportunity to get your stuff in front of more eyeballs, and that's only going to be good for your business. It's only going to be good for your goals. The influence, as well as the eagle, which is a very shamanic creature. This is, I have to say, one of my very, very favorite cards in this deck, and seeing the eagle here, it just warms my heart for you, because the eagle represents the sign of Scorpio, which is also a fixed sign, but it also represents the ability to have a very penetrating and clear vision. Eagles can see so far away. It's insane what details their eyes can pick up on from so far away. So there's something about the energy of October that's bringing in maybe something that you have seen for yourself from really far away. Like maybe months and months ago, you thought maybe there could be an opportunity for you in this particular arena, and you've had to maybe wait, or you've had to travel, or you've had to focus, you've had to be strong and committed to whatever this journey looks like for you. And now you're finally seeing, like you're zooming in on that thing that you saw from so far away. And the universe is kind of saying, yes, you saw correctly. This was here. This was here for you. So I love to see this. I feel like this is a really uplifting card, and I see both of these actually as uplifting energies. One of the things I will point out, though, is that both of these creatures are predatory. So that means that you're, like, metaphorically speaking, that means that you're going to have to be committed to your own needs and getting your own needs met this month, Aquarius. And that might mean that you need to be a little bit selfish with your time. That might mean that you have to say no to some things that normally your sensitivity and your desire to be kind to other people, or to be generous with other people, especially with your time. I feel like normally under other circumstances, you would give more of yourself to some kind of situation, even if you weren't really expecting to get anything in return. I don't necessarily feel that the energy of October is like that for you. I feel like you're going to have to be more conservative and intentional about how you spend your time and who you spend it with, because you're going to have a lot to accomplish, and you don't want to, I think you will have a hard time kind of letting it go, like internally, if you were to kind of overstep your own boundaries, or overstep what is actually in your best interest and good for you in favor of just pleasing other people. I feel like you're gonna have a really hard time with that if you choose to do that this month. So it's really important that you just stay rooted in yourself. Don't worry so much about pleasing other people. You can always circle back and do something nice for someone who's asking a favor of you right now. You can circle back to them later on and do that once you have a little bit less going on. But I feel like right now, if the energy is ripe and the opportunities are flowing, and you need to preserve all of your energy so that you can do more social events, or so that you can show up to meetings, or go to dinners with people, or just meet with important clients, or whatever it is in your situation. Maybe it's also about prioritizing family. Maybe if that's more of your focus, this is about really being clear on what your main prerogative is. And you're going to find that October is a month in which there's a lot of momentum in that specific area of your life that is the most important for you to focus on right now. So just be true to that and be honest with people. Just say, hey, you know what? I would love to help you, but I have so much going on. Can we rain check for next month or maybe early in 2020? I think it's going to be important for you to just be straightforward about that, and you will thank me later because you'll realize, oh gosh, I really needed to take some extra time maybe to recharge my batteries and do some self-care so that I could get up again the next day and take risks and put myself out there and travel maybe for business opportunities or for work, and I just wouldn't have had the energy to show up and do my best in those situations if I was stretching myself too thin and trying to please everyone. So just be mindful of that, and let's take a look at your tarot cards. Yeah, we've got the Seven of Wands, Two of Cups, Ace of Wands, the Princess of Wands, Princess of Swords, Seven of Pentacles, Eight of Swords, and the Eight of Cups. So 2 8s at the end, and we have 2 7s, 2 princesses in the Two of Cups. So there's a lot of mirroring going on in this reading. Okay. So I see a lot happening. Just like I was saying, this does feel like a very creative time for you, Aquarius. It feels like a time in which you're going to be forming a lot of new connections, and you're probably feeling that right off the bat as we go into October because you have the Seven of Wands with the Two of Cups as you go into the month. So the Seven of Wands shows this person kind of blocking off the approach or encroachment of these other people underneath him. The Two of Cups shows 2 people spending time together and getting to know each other. So these are very different energies, but I'm going to explain to you like the 2 main ways that I could see this playing out because this is a general reading, so it's going to depend on your circumstances, how you experience this. But the first thing that I felt was that there's going to be a lot of people who want your attention this month, and that's going to be a whole range. Like there will be some people who want your attention in your personal life, and you may have to prioritize that. For example, with the Two of Cups, you may want to prioritize your relationship with your spouse or your significant other. Or if you're dating and you are starting to develop a really beautiful connection with someone, or you meet someone and they want to spend more time with you and you're excited about it, you may want to kind of prioritize that connection at the moment to the exclusion of things that feel a little bit excessive or too much. Because the Seven of Wands is a card of boundaries, essentially. But then the Two of Cups is a card of merging. So I feel like you're kind of in the middle of both of those. And it's going to be about really for you to decide where you want to have boundaries in your life and where you want to merge more in your life. And of course, this doesn't have to just be personal. It could be a new connection like a colleague in business with the Two of Cups. Sometimes that can be an incredibly creative card because you might be connecting with somebody who, for example, has resources that might be able to help you out. And so you're really working together on how you can mutually benefit each other through your respective skills and resources and seeing how all of that can take shape. If that's the case, you might need a little bit of exclusivity. You know, this could be a really lucrative and supportive and creative partnership opportunity, but maybe you both would like to make it exclusive. So it's just a partnership between the two of you, and that might be part of any contract that you sign. For example, maybe you want to work with, if you're working on some kind of some kind of maybe course or business, and you want to work with someone in particular, maybe it's in both of your best interests if you don't also include competitors, like, you know, the competitors of each other in what you're doing. So I don't necessarily feel a strong energy of concern over competition, though. I really feel like this reading is more about you kind of shielding yourself from any relationships and connections or friendships or energies that tend to drain you, so that you can really focus on what is bringing you the deeper emotional fulfillment that we see in the Two of Cups. Because with the Two of Cups, something is working beautifully. Something is combining in a very rich alchemical way, because Two of Cups is a card of alchemy. So it's a process that is deeply fulfilling and satisfying to you, whether it's a creative process or the process of getting to know someone, what have you. It doesn't matter. It's like that process needs to be protected. Even if it's just an internal process of you expressing your creativity through maybe writing or through whatever means you do, if you're a musician, for example. It's like making time for that relationship in your life, whether it's a relationship with your own creative self-expression or another person. It's like you have to have those boundaries in place so that you can really deepen that bond. So that energy quickly moves, though, into the Princess of Wands and the Ace of Wands, which is very fiery. And again, look how freaking gorgeous and crazy it is that I was seeing all of that solar symbolism in your meditation, and then we get this really powerful solar symbolism in your cards. I absolutely love it. In the second week of October, I feel so much inspiration for you, Aquarius. I really feel like this is the time when you are going to have some opportunities to shine. The Princess of Wands is a card of, I associate the princesses, which are also the pages, with studying and with academics or learning, and sometimes also learning like vocations or learning art, getting some kind of study program with art or something that you're studying with healing, something that you're passionate about that you're learning, but then at the same time you're kind of turning around as you're learning it and you're expressing it right away. So I see you kind of sharing about something that you are passionate about with the Princess of Wands and being in a position of confidence and strength with that. And the Ace of Wands is showing that it's possible that whatever you are working on this month, it kind of almost feels to you like there's this divine aspect. Like you're not necessarily the only one doing the work. You're not the only one creating. You can feel that there's an energy that is moving through you. And that's that kind of incorporeal, divine, disembodied energy of the Ace of Wands, which is kind of like the root of fire. It's the root, it's the source of the energy of fire, which is for you being expressed in October as creative fire. So you're really inspired. You are feeling almost like a channel, essentially. And I feel like this is going to present opportunities where you can really inspire other people with this. Like when I'm looking at this, I feel like if there's anything that you wanted to do that would involve organizing some kind of group setting or a meetup or organizing some kind of like some kind of social situation around a particular concept or goal that's meaningful for everybody who joins it, this is the time to do that, because you're going to get people motivated. You're going to be able to hold space in group settings and really excite people and get people fired up for the cause or for the hobby or for the lesson that you're trying to share. So there's a lot of success when it comes to social situations this month for you, Aquarius, and I really want you to use this energy. Wow, did you guys hear that? There's thunder going outside. I want you to use this energy. I want you to embrace it because it's going to pay off a lot. It's clearly going to pay off. So as we go into the third week of October, we have the Princess of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles. So what I really like about the combination of these cards is the way that the Princess of Swords is holding her dagger, and then the Seven of Pentacles is using a sharp object to harvest this herb. So one thing that I'm getting from this is that you are definitely the Princess of Swords. And in the third week of October, your words, because of the swords is the suit of communication and kind of refinement of the mind, studies, and those types of things, especially also because it's a princess or a page. What we see here is that the refinement and the expression of your skills and ideas leads to an important harvest. It leads to you really separating the wheat from the chaff and recognizing that you've gained something that is of incredible worth and value. So it's time to accept that and move forward. You know, it's like accepting the rewards of your efforts is really what I get from this. And because it's you, you know, because you are the Princess of Swords, you're an Aries sign. Seeing this here, I feel that whatever this is, it's a great blessing. It is because you worked for it, but it is a great blessing still anyway. That's how you see it. But I'm also getting from these cards, there's not a huge amount of emotion here, which is interesting because I feel like what's going on in the third week of October is something that you have been wanting to do for a while, and you are harvesting something that you've been waiting for a while. So I'm not sure why you're like in these cards, it doesn't necessarily show you like jumping up and down over it. Maybe you don't necessarily believe that it's quite happening, or you're still kind of processing it. Or maybe there's something else on your mind, but I want you to really acknowledge the growth that's happening here in your life, Aquarius. And I feel like you're really reaping what you've sown. And maybe it's because you're sort of already looking at what you want to do next. So in that sense, you know, that's always a good place to be. Like, you're doing good in the moment, so you're excited about like what the next boundary is that you can cross, like what the next limiting belief is that you can kind of explode and break through. But I also want you to be mindful that like where you are is perfect, and what you're doing is beautiful. What you're doing is something that you've worked for and that is making a difference. And I think that's also the key for you, is to recognize that what you're doing is making a difference. And I feel like now I'm getting this sense that for some of you, it's like you are accomplishing something, but then you're kind of wondering, but is this going to make any difference? Maybe it's more of a philanthropic issue, or maybe it's, yes, I achieved this thing in my business now, but is that going to mean that I'm going to keep succeeding moving forward? Or it's something like that. So it's interesting. It's a contemplative energy, but I don't see it as bad though. I see it as you're kind of just quietly processing. And I want you to just be really conscious of your thought process around this, because this is something to celebrate. So have fun. Do something fun for yourself in that third week of October. It might be too that you just need a little bit of a break after kind of like the middle of the month, where you have all this fire and this extroversion and this charisma that you're expressing, and you're kind of very outward, you're very seen, you're communicating a lot. Maybe you are kind of reflecting on everything that you just did, and you have to kind of give yourself time to sort of catch up to the point to which you've expanded. So maybe that's what it is. But overall, I want you to do something fun for yourself in the third week of October. Spoil yourself, do something nice, go visit some friends, go on a little trip or something along those lines. Because if you don't reward yourself along the journey, and if you don't keep this theme of your personal joy close to your heart, then even if you are working towards the most philanthropic vision ever, like even if you're contributing so much to the planet or to an industry or making positive changes, you will eventually burn out, even though you have a strong why, even though you have a strong purpose for what you're doing. You have to feel the joy within yourself, Aquarius. That's your job. That's the part of your job that I want you to be more focused on this month, is just having fun within yourself. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're always going to be broadcasting that or, showing everybody how good you feel on social media or in person, just talking about like how amazing it is. But at least if you are setting that clear intention within yourself that, hell no, I'm going to fucking enjoy my life. Like, I'm going to enjoy the little things, the daily things that I go through, and I'm going to celebrate the big wins too. And you clearly do have some to celebrate this month. So I want to talk to you about the last week of October because there is potentially some tricky energy. Now, this feels a little bit unrelated to the stuff that we've seen leading up to this point. And actually, I'm also not really surprised that we see the Eight of Swords and the Eight of Cups coming up as the sun moves into Scorpio, which is the 8th sign in the zodiac. And it also squares your sign, Aquarius. So Scorpio and Aquarius are both fixed signs, so they square each other in the zodiac. And what that means is that when you have the sun, Mercury, and Venus traveling all together, because they never go that far apart from each other, when you have the sun, Mercury, and Venus all traveling through a sign that squares your sun, or whatever it is, you know, that you have in Aquarius, if it's your moon or your ascendant, or a stellium, that energy, the Scorpio energy, is going to agitate you a little bit. And this is something that I have personally experienced being a Scorpio when the sun is in Aquarius. It's not a horrible time. None of the months of the year are a horrible time for me, but I do notice that some things are a little bit more challenging than they normally are. But the good news is that once I kind of realized that like the months, like the Leo month, the Aquarius month, and the Taurus month all consistently tend to be the more challenging periods of every single year for me, I gave myself so much more room to breathe during those times. So I actually intentionally know when I see that the sun, Mercury, and Venus are moving into one of the fixed signs, I know that I'm going to potentially have a little bit more aches and pains in my physical body. That's something that I have noticed. And I've gone back through old journals and stuff and looked and found dates when I struggled more with certain like physical things or emotional things. And oftentimes it was during those periods of the year that were also in the fixed signs. So I'm not saying this to dishearten you in any way at all, but hopefully me saying this gives you kind of some sort of a reference point, like a point of reference, so that you understand what you may be experiencing and how temporary it really is. Specifically, it's more difficult when the sun, Mercury, and Venus are actually squaring your actual points in Aquarius. So that's going to depend on your personal chart, but it doesn't last the whole month. And a lot of times these squares, what they do is they just bring a little bit more challenges, and they bring a little bit of a sense of, sometimes you can struggle a little bit with authority, or you can struggle a little bit with the responsibilities that you have on your plate feel a little bit heavier than normal. And it's, again, not an extreme thing. It's nothing to lose your head about. I mean, I know you wouldn't anyway. You're very, like, logical sign. But it's something to just keep in mind that if you are kind of internally feeling like, you know, I want this to go a little easier, just look at your transits and see when this, you know, section of time is over, and you can pretty much always expect to feel better right away. That's just something that I've experienced, so maybe look into that. But I feel like whatever is going on as the sun moves into Scorpio, with the Eight of Swords and the Eight of Cups, it is asking you to go deeper, I think, into your own relationship with kind of your inner psyche. And I feel like part of the reason for this is that there is potentially going to be something in your life that you're going to recognize isn't really working for you anymore. And you won't really realize that until you put the blindfold on with the Eight of Swords and actually cut off the outer stimulation that keeps you kind of distracted. So I think it's more about like an invitation to go inward and to see how something really feels for you and what you can do to like honor your actual, like your truest, deepest opinions about that particular life situation. I don't see you needing to necessarily make a huge change right away at the end of the month. I feel like this is more about, like, it's kind of triggering some either insecurity or something that's asking you to go inward and get more clear, and then be willing to be open to the idea of walking away. Sometimes that's all that we really need to demonstrate to the universe, is that we will walk away from a situation that is no longer serving us. And when we kind of demonstrate that with our vibration first, before actually, you know, packing up and leaving all of a sudden because our relationship is like in struggle, sometimes if we change our vibration to say, look, I am willing to make a major change if that's what's needed, and you really genuinely mean that, it's crazy, but sometimes that's all that the situation needs in order to flip, is your willingness to leave it. And sometimes it gets better on its own, and sometimes it doesn't, and you might actually have to make that change. But I don't see you being forced into it right away at the end of October. I feel like maybe not even in November. I feel like it's more, it's like a regular yearly cycle that you go through that asks you to contemplate what you need to let go of and what you need to keep. So nothing to be concerned about, but just be mindful. Okay, so your oracle card from the soul trees is play. So again, I feel like this is so appropriate for this reading because you get all of these cards of extroversion and sharing your light and having that Midas touch. You know, part of what gives you that Midas touch this month, Aquarius, is that you have a high vibration, and playfulness is an incredibly high vibration. So what you touch is going to turn to gold this month, as long as you are kind of living in that like Peter Pan world, like internally, where you can imagine that it will, and you can imagine what it would feel like to just have fun or enjoy the simple things that you're doing, as well as maybe some of the bigger stuff that you're doing this month. So just be playful with it. I feel like that's really the portal that you can go through that will really open you up to have like an incredibly positive experience of something that you may have been dreading. So I think just be open, you know? Aquarius. We have got adjacent possibilities. Wow. So this is speaking to that, the Eight of Cups message at the end of the month, I actually feel. Adjacent possibilities is a card that comes up at very special times in our lives. I can remember specific occasions when I've pulled this card for myself, and it was always incredibly meaningful. But this is a card that comes up to show us that we've been wearing blinders and thinking that we need to proceed in one direction in one particular way. This card comes up to say, look, there's doors and portals and thresholds everywhere around you. So be open-minded here. And I feel like that's really the message of like when the sun goes into Scorpio and you have some of those like introverted moments where you want to explore how things feel to you on an inner level, and you want to validate like even some of the more challenging things that you might be feeling. I feel like this card is saying that's happening. This push inward is happening to get you to see another door. It's happening to get you to become aware of adjacent possibilities in your life. So it's a good thing. It's a blessing. Everything in this reading is a blessing, I feel, but you are subjectively going to experience this month as a blessing when it's happening. That's the difference, is that I think pretty much all things that happen to us are blessings. It's just that in the first moment, sometimes we don't subjectively experience it as a blessing, but eventually we learn about it, whether we have to cross over to learn it, you know? Sometimes that's how it is, but most of the time, and especially this month, I feel like you're going to be really aware that the universe is working things for you, that the universe is opening doors for you, and you can actually approach this playfully and embrace it. All right, Aquarius, I hope this reading has been helpful to you. I hope it gives you something meaningful to think about as you go through the coming month. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. I feel so honored to read for you every month. Please feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Everything that you do to either, give me a thumbs up or subscribe to notifications or leaving a comment, all of those things, I cannot stress enough, really help my channel. YouTube has changed their analytics recently, and I feel like my videos aren't really being shown as much. So anything that you feel inspired to do, if you got something useful from this reading and you want to say thank you and you want to spread the message, or share it with your friends, that would be amazing. But also liking it and leaving a comment really does wonders for YouTube's algorithms for me. So please feel free to leave a comment or give me a thumbs up if you got anything useful from this reading. I really just set the intention every time that all of the messages that come through are going to, first of all, do no harm, and second of all, bring peace and clarity and truth into your life as you move forward. So thank you so much for showing me if these readings are helpful, and I hope you have an amazing month in October. It looks like it's going to be full of blessings, so have fun with it. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, I'll put the information on that below. The 2020 pre-order readings, personal readings are now available, so you can check that out below as well. And if you'd like to participate with me during my free daily tarot challenge over on Instagram, I'll put my Instagram link below this video too. It's called the Witch's New Year Challenge, and you can participate as much or as little as you want to. It's really just an opportunity for us to kind of get together and connect with our ancestors, spirit guides, animal totems, and just our higher selves as well. Okay, Aquarius, have an amazing month. I'm sending you so much love. I love you guys, and you're going to really enjoy it. So, have an awesome time, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.